Let's put oh, there goes the light. I was like, what's going on? All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. So today's live stream is going to be about the current state of affairs of fishing, kind of how I feel, and the way that the sport is going, what's happening with it, what I see going on, and then you know electronics, how they play a role in current fishing, and even how with really good electronics, just some guys can still struggle, while others, with the help of electronics, can just, you know, especially what we got nowadays with live scope and stuff, it's just insane. And then there are differences in boats, how much deck space you have, room you got, little accessories you got to charge things, do things, lights at night, all kinds of little things you could do to put the advantage in your put the ball in your park, so to speak, or in your court, so that you have a better chance at catching them. There's so much available to us. A lot of this is good. Some of it is bad. We'll talk about that, I think, and about how fishing is becoming a sport for the elite and a sport for the rich. How I feel that back in the days, from say the 80s to early 2000s, you get a lot of young anglers, especially in the 90s and 2000s, who came up in professional bass fishing by simply being good at fishing, and didn't have a ton of money and backing, and they just came in and started winning tournaments because they were good at fishing. They didn't need the $100,000 boat. They didn't need the $100,000 truck. Um, maybe fishing local circuits before they branched out to other states. But I think that back in the days, I think it was a little easier. It was still hard. You had to be really fishing, right? But it was still hard. But it was easier to get into tournament fishing, make a little money, or get a little name for yourself, start a lure company. In the 80s and 90s, there wasn't everybody tying jigs, wasn't everybody selling jigs. Um, it just before the internet, fishing was a sport for guys that really liked fishing and that have usually been in it. Their parents, dad, somebody got them into it. With the internet now, I mean, just fishing has exploded. It's become such a popular sport now, and I love that. That's great. The more people fishing, the better. That's why I do this channel. I want to help out, want to teach. It just feels like on the business end of things, like for going into bait creation, or there's just, the market is so saturated, only the best are going to make it. And do you have the money to invest in the best molds, injectables, do the best this and that, is going to separate. And then your name and reputation to the internet. What are you doing? You could even be mediocre but just have great marketing skills and create a brand and just blow up, right? Or you could be actually really good and just be kind of overlooked and missed, and not taken as seriously. There's so much right now going on in the world of fishing, and it's just so crazy. I felt I wanted to do a video about kind of where I've seen the sport of fishing change over the last, say, 30 years that I've been fishing. Just about. Hey, Ray, what's going on? Ronald Roquemore, what's going on, everybody? By the way, we're having our members giveaway tonight. We got a Bass Pro Shops gift card and a couple of lures we'll probably give away and send that out with. Some jig sucking lips, the last 3 or 4 that I didn't get to give away at the members meeting. So make sure you don't miss that. We're going to try to go live tonight. I was going to go live yesterday. I put a post on YouTube saying I was going to, but I forgot it was Thursday, and I just ended up getting slammed. So with this, I do heating and air conditioning, so the summer can be tricky for me. It'll be crazy. There'll be days, because I'm a new company, where it's like 100 degrees and I don't have much going on, and then all of a sudden I'll just get booked for 2, 3, 4 days straight, and then not have work for 2 or 3 days. It's crazy when you work for yourself. So you got to take the work when you get it, and sometimes that cuts into stuff. So I apologize, but we're gonna have a good giveaway later on tonight. So big shout out to Jig Sucking Lips, Bijong, Yupang Bang, all the guys that are part of that, and for supporting the event. We had a great time out at Don Pedro, or sorry, Don Pedro at New Maloney's. Went out there and had a barbecue, cooked some ribs, some tri-tip, gave away some lures, played some casting games, had some fun. Nice little group of guys made it up there. So trying to do more stuff like that on the channel. Hopefully next time it'll be a lot bigger. We had to move the event like time twice due to conflicting schedule stuff. So it was just, it was kind of last minute stuff. But hey, keeping it real, how you doing? We're talking about the current state of affairs of fishing with electronics, kind of how it's becoming a sport of the elite for tournament fishing. Like we all, I think, at one time kind of had dreams of being a bass pro or like winning some tournaments and actually winning money. But I mean, then when you get into it for a little bit, you start realizing it's not that you're going to really win money. It's just have some fun, maybe win a couple times, get a few trophies, build friendships and relationships is what it starts becoming about. Because if you think you're going to make money fishing, that's like one out of a million. Because even like having this YouTube channel, right? There's so much that goes invested to it. I lose money on it because of all the money and time I put in doing stuff. I don't get barely anything from YouTube back. Yeah, I'm monetized, but we're in that baby stage, trying to grow and trying to get there. So I appreciate everybody's support. All the likes and shares, comments, all that stuff's great. But fishing is more, in my opinion, and probably always has been a sport about getting out, spending time with family or friends, or even by yourself, enjoying the great outdoors, getting away from society, the problems, the internet, the TV, the constant brain drain, and then just being able to de-stress, relax, get out on the water, and just float around and have some fun, right? Catch some fish. That's the name of the game, or at least try to. So fishing, even when you get skunked, can be so much of a relaxation and a good thing for you. So I wholly support it, trying to teach and help people get better. But if you think you're going to get paid from fishing, you probably should think again, or you better be very, very good at it and dedicate every moment of your life to it. Dang there, right? So I got to pay the bills. I do HVAC, so sometimes fears, so I apologize. So, but we're trying to build a community here. My goal is of all from basic beginning anglers and people who've never fished up to professionals and just people that want to share, have fun, entertain each other, crack some jokes, and just have a good time and be a positive part of the whole fishing community. So with that being said, I want to kind of start with live scopes, tournaments. So I've heard there's been changes to tournament rules where like you have to compete in so many tournaments now just to enter like the bass or something like that. And you're talking, I think they're talking like a minimum of 30 grand just to probably get in to fish the bass tournament circuit. So it's like it's nuts what you got to do to even remotely come close to professional fishing, and guys with these $100,000 boats and all this fancy stuff. But even then, a guy in a little tracker can go out there and whomp on them. So skill is very important. But with the advent of these live scope and how good, if you've got a lot of money and you can afford a 300 horsepower boat that flies on the water and you can see fish as like you got underwater cameras, you got cameramen, or you got people who are with you who can have drones, who can have cameras, drop GoPros down and record and see what's down there. You see fish on the live, on your fish finder, drop down, say they're in 30, 40 feet, drop down, find out what they are, pull up, watch your stuff, figure out if it's worth even fishing for them. What are they? Trout, bass? There's with live scope, with all the crazy stuff that people can do and have nowadays, it just makes it so much tough for like tournament anglers to go out and at least do on the lake Saturday night. That's a private conversation we're going to have maybe. I don't really want to speak about it. and make a situation any worse than it may or may not be. I really just don't care at this point about something. So we'll just leave it at that. Had a great time out at the lake Saturday and Saturday night, as far as with everybody. So thank you. But some things did happen, which also affected why I haven't been on. But I really don't want to get onto that publicly or on YouTube, because I have a little bit of respect and privacy. And sometimes people make mistakes, do dumb shit. So with that being said, we'll just leave it at that. But you know, yeah, to yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So, anyways, where was I? So, yeah, talking about these electronics. So, what sucks is in your average everyday circuit of small tournament anglers, of guys from 30 and 60 boat fields, you're going to have occasional hawks that like come in and just punk us, that are like, they're allowed in on the circuit. They're like semi pro or not quite pro, or they're pro, but they're still allowed to fish against normal Joes. You'll get guys that come in and they're like pool sharks, they're from upper division tournaments, and they'll come in, they'll fish in the lower division tournament stuff. I really think kind of like weight divisions, that fishing has become so big. I wish some of the tournaments would meld and become one or two, and have a few for competitive sake, but not so many damn tournament circuits, and join them together and then create some sets of rules, like this is the high level elite tournament, these are the mediocre, and then hey, the guys that aren't that great, we'll let them have their own tournament, or cycle it by boat size, horsepower of motor, and then even consider and factor in how many tournaments somebody's won. So like, if a guy who's got a 90 horsepower boat but has really high grade electronics, or even not, but he's just a killer, and he's won 40 tournaments in the course of just a few, money just killing fools. Everybody knows him, shouldn't be allowed to fish. That are taking their kids out and trying to get them into tournaments. The other guys with 60 horsepower boats that are okay but could never really, that we should start separating it. Kind of, it'd make it more entertaining, more fun, more beneficial for everybody. I don't know, maybe that's just a thought, but you get to thinking that you'll have a small river rat tournament, or you'll have a small windy Wednesday nighter, and you'll have someone like Ish Monroe show up, or you have someone like Christian Ostrander show up, or you'll have someone like some of those guys drop in, and fishing against guides, Ryan Cook or other guys. They have just a distinct advantage over you, or fishing against guys who are decent. They're pretty damn good, but they got like $100,000 in electronics on their boat, and even more if you count the rods, reels, best poles, best, and you can't account for that. Like, you can't just say, okay, poor people tournament here, rich people tournament there. But it gets to a point where fishing has gotten so high end and techy, that, and there's always been expensive rods and reels, but I think that back in the 80s and 90s, when it was just spinnerbait, crankbait, worm, jig, there's some basic lures, right? There was a lot of different ones, but they didn't have a lot of the stuff they have today, that are so focused in on only one specific thing. Like, this is a swim bait rod only. This is a crankbait rod only. Back in the days, you kind of had a rod that did a few different things, and you still might be like that, right? But it just seems like things have gotten so much more expensive, fancy, high tech. I'm maybe just getting old, right? It feels like getting left in the dust almost with the current state of fishing, when you look around and you see what's going on. And then I see it devolving into, I think, two or three separate categories. Okay, so the elite, the pros, right? Eventually, tournament fishing is just going to become, I think there'll be a lot of people in it still. We're building there. Tournament fishing is growing. There's all these circuits, hundreds of boats competing. But I think you're going to have the elite circuit. You're going to have these guys that are basically the either A, they're just the skill level is insane, they're the best of the best, or B, their financial level is insane and they can afford the best of the best boat, sonar, multiple sonars, multiple directions, every little kit thing, move their live scope, on a separate different pedal, and all the crazy shit, and super duper live wells with ultra aerators and vented stuff, and just all the best stuff, all the best live scope, the best rods, reels. These guys are, and with moderate to great skill level. Those guys are just going to make fishing for the rest of everybody that can't compete into that just not fun, not worth it. So I think it'll separate, or it kind of already is, right? And it always kind of has been. But I think, like I said earlier, getting into, say, Bass or a pro league or a FLW or something like that, I think was a little easier. It was always expensive, but it was a little easier back in the days. I think it can be a lot harder now. So I see fishing developing into kind of that higher upper level stuff. And then in that same subset or area, tournament fishing, let's just say tournament fishing, of being the elites, the great stuff, like it always has been. And then the rest of us in just a bunch of different stuff, new gen, BBT, Future Pro, all that great stuff, River Rat. Those are smaller tournaments, but same kind of idea, right? And then you're going to have the YouTuber community. You're going to have Thai Pig Patrol, Milliken Fishing. You're going to have Bama Bass. You're going to have other guys that are really big that aren't really pros. Lake Fork guy, Tactical Bassin, that they don't really fish too much in professional circuits. Now you have pros that are dipping into YouTube, getting big channels. Scott Martin, Brian Latimer, Jimmy Houston, even doing this thing. You've got the pros starting to realize that they're missing so much money and so much audience on YouTube. But I see that YouTube's been around so long. Some of these big channels have been around so long. They're like the kings of YouTube, right? For fishing wise, Greg Blanchard, um, all those other really great YouTubers. One day I'd like to be in that category, but I got started real late. I'd shoot myself in the foot. Wanted to start a YouTube channel in about 2012 it was, and I kind of got made fun of by some friends, didn't get a lot of support. And the nickname Sam Pro at first wasn't really meant as like a positive nickname. Let's just say that. I'm not pointing fingers, and I'm not going to say who. But I had really close friends making fun of me for trying to start a YouTube channel back, 10 years ago, where if I would have had that YouTube channel, you guys would have seen so many monster 8-pounders, some 10-pounders, lots of 7s, 8s, 9s, 6s, crazy adventures. You guys would have seen some nutty stuff that I wanted to. I had one. It got stolen. It was frustrating to invest it when I was not doing very good, and to buy a GoPro and then have it disappear like that. It was just very frustrating. And then not to have any support at that moment and that time from the closest people I thought would support me made fun of me. So like I didn't do it. And so, anyways, I think I could have been up there in that bigger tier, because right now YouTube is so old that it's almost like Hollywood or it's like any industry, right? Where it's got its set foundation, it's got its pros, it's got its heroes, its stars, and it's hard for the smaller guy to break into that if you don't go viral. And I don't know how I caught a guy at the Delta flipping his boat and drowning, and it didn't go viral, right? He's saving dudes stuck on islands and boats sinking, not going viral. Couple double digits, not going viral. I don't know. YouTube algorithm hates me, or I must suck. So I'm working on it, folks. Trying to get better. Trying to get all the kinks and the nuts and bolts. I analyze things, but with real life and kids stuff going on, it can be hard to make the adjustments. But this is a long-term thing. Plus, do it like almost like a diary. It's like also I can go back and watch my fishing videos, see what was happening last year, what was I doing in July, say it's July now, what worked for me last year? If I'm struggling this year, I can look back, see, oh, I haven't even been throwing any of that. Oh, let's try that. And then go out, put patterns together and knock them dead. It's a way to entertain folks, educate, have fun, and then also hopefully down the road create a business and make a little money or live off of it a little bit. That'd be great. But in the meantime, my main focus is just be real, be honest, uh, and be professional as you can in a sense, but also be, like I said, be real, which you're going to get a goofball, you're going to get fun, you're going to get weird stuff, sometimes tangents, rabbit holes, but you're going to get all the best fishing tips and tricks I can give you, true, honest, where I'm catching them, how I'm catching them, what I'm catching them on, when I'm catching them. And I know I'm not in other states. I know I'm not at Clear Lake all the time or down in Southern California or other places in California, even for that matter. I'm mostly focused here in the Central Valley. I'd still love to share what I know with you. And I think that fishing is universal and you can apply what you know to any state, any place, make some adjustments and have fun catching fish. They're just fish. You're going to overthink it, what works here will work there, just maybe different times of the year and situations. Or those same situations may just be, like I said, different times of the year. So when you're used to it being spawn here, maybe it's just 2 or 3 months ahead there. But a worm, still a worm, on a bed is still going to piss a bass off, or a jig or a swim bait on a bed is still going to anger a bass. There are a lot of ways if you come across a big double digit or a monster bass to actually get it to bite. And it usually entails picking up something bigger like a jig or a swim bait. And you'll see that bass's attitude change real quick than when you have a little dink worm that you've been throwing, or something smaller, though something bigger. And maybe you catch the male, or the male's biting the small bait, but the female won't commit. You got a 1 or 2 pound male with an 8 pound female. Well, you're going to have to do something to get that 8 pound female to bite, bigger stuff. So we give tips, as best information as we can to try to share here. So I'm hoping everybody enjoys the channel. Thanks for the people who've been with me for a long time. So, but yeah, I've seen it over the last 30 years. It has changed. So that was today, was just that the state of fishing's been evolved like everything does in life. And it's those who evolve and change with it, right, that I think are going to be the most successful. I don't know where I'll fit in there, but I'm going to try my best. And, you know, as well as I wanted to talk about, yes, we're going to try to do our July giveaway tonight. So we got some lures, we got some stuff we're going to give away, we got a gift card. So make sure you tune in later tonight, catch that, make sure your notification bell is checked. And we covered the state of fishing, where it's at. Where I think it's going now, though, is interesting. I think that there's going to be a couple, like I said, a couple different groups or sects, and I didn't really get to finish that. You're going to have your elites, your pros, your tournament sect, which will slowly, I think, kind of weed itself out to where it's just the live scopers, just the really good guys. The dudes are just going to get tired of spending $200, 400, $500 a tournament and not getting any money returns, no wood, no checks, no recognition, and just giving it their all, but getting beat by guys that just have better equipment. Maybe they're similar anglers. And of course, those guys without all that fancy stuff still going to win some tournaments. But the more and more people that put that fancy gear on their boat, and then the longer the time goes by, the less expensive that fancy equipment becomes slightly, so that more and more people can afford it. For example, a DVD player, when it first came out, may have been $500 to $1,000. Fast forward 10 years later, every home had them for $49.99, eventually $29.99. Now you can barely even find one. Because everything's a Blu-ray or even, a media player, right? So things change, right? But I think that fishing in the tournament circuit will eventually weed itself out to a higher level. But in the moment right now, there's about 2 or 3 tiers of it. Your pro, your semi-pro, and your amateur, right? And then even you're just dinking around having fun. Weekend warrior circuit, I guess there's a lot of different levels, let's say. But eventually I think it's going to condense into kind of two: the really high level pro, and then the elite rich, mediocre, and good guy that ain't quite, Bill Dance level pro, but they're real good. And, because there's enough anglers now, there's getting more and more that I think, like I said, it's going to weed itself out. Then I think what you're going to have, like I said, is a YouTube community. So people that are out there producing content, sharing stuff, doing wild things, fun things, taking you along for the ride so you can sit on your couch. It can feel like you're out there fishing. You can live vicariously, stuff like that. So I think those channels, those people are going to be, the entertainment fishing side, which is slightly different. And it used to always be the entertainment and the pro side were the same. Nobody wanted to watch or cared about what the average Joe had to say until the advent of the internet. And so that's a big change. And like I said, that's our goal here, is to kind of focus on the average Joe, the weekend warrior, the tournament angler who's not quite super elite. Because, I mean, um, maybe I still have a few things you may not know. There's always stuff you can learn. That's how I feel about myself, is that I'm pretty good at fishing, but there's always people way better. And I just want to get better and have fun and catch more fish. So if you know something that's working that I don't, I shut up and listen real quick. And I'll throw or do something and adjust in a heartbeat. I'm not stubborn. I won't throw just the same thing. But when I'm by myself, I can tend to put myself in a box. But if I see something that's working, shoot, I ain't stupid. Mama didn't raise a fool. And that's where the internet just really helps, because you can see other people, what they're doing, how they're catching fish, similar bodies of water, maybe in their same body of water. So it's just great. So I see that two main things. Now, third that I forgot to talk about is going to be a huge chunk of fishermen. And I think a lot of them will fall under the YouTube watcher category, but not the YouTube producer category. That will be the average everyday bank angler, tin can boat fisherman. Kayak fisherman is still kind of its own sex. So you have some kayak is almost becoming it's like its own community. So, but you'll have some of those guys in there. The floating guy, the guy wading out into the lake or river fishing, the shore anglers, the weekend warriors, the guys that maybe that have a bass boat but take it out a few times a year. You're going to have the hardcore shore anglers that don't have any kind of boat. That just huge swath of fishermen that isn't really. Those are maybe the YouTube community, focuses on getting their attention and their views. But I see fishing is kind of broken down into those kind of sections over the last 30 years. It's getting much more complicated. There's so much. Then there's all these little fishing communities too, right? Like little groups of fishermen that follow this guy or follow that guy. Really big fans of this one. Watch them all. But we don't have a lot of time in the day when we have lives and we have stuff. So usually people will hone in and pick on their favorites, and they watch a few. They have a few that they watch. So I appreciate everybody that hangs out, watches here, shares here. Big shout out, big thank you. That's why we're gonna have our members giveaway. So don't forget, later today, 7 p.m. we're gonna get on. But I wanted to do just a quick midday live stream because I've been missing in action. Only done a few for like the last week or two. HVAC work has been crazy. I had some crazy things happen, so that kind of kept me off the last few days. And but I'm back. We're gonna be at it. We're gonna have that giveaway later tonight. I need a fishing trip desperately bad. I was even going to think about going tonight, this afternoon maybe, and doing the live stream from the lake, or live streaming and chatting on the way up there, because I need some fishing time. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do a night trip. This weekend's supposed to be brutal. 106, 107. Today's only 103. So I might do an afternoon trip. And if that happens, we'll still go live. We might postpone the giveaway to Monday, though. So keep your notifications checked. I'm not really sold 100%. I'm trying to see on work. I do heating and air conditioning, so I had a lull. Today, I haven't really had a lot of calls or work come in. So I've been busy the last few days. But I figured, hey, I have some time off. It's a Friday. Let's jump on to let everybody know I'm not dead. We're still going to be producing great content. and talk about a few subjects, So the other thing is, if you get a chance, smash that like button. Hey, the Bass Assassin. Um, yeah, if you guys get a chance, smash the like button. And was looking for. Oh yeah, the I was looking for the title because I know there was three things I wanted to talk about. One was the state of affairs of fishing. Just kind of leave a comment, let me know what you guys think about fishing. Oh, we all love it, right? But do you have goals? Are you tournament fishing? Do you just fish for fun? Where do you see yourself? Do you see the fishing community getting bigger and bigger like I do? But do you see it also branching off? When things inevitably get so big, they kind of separate into groups, and I kind of see that forming. Like I said, the YouTube community, the pro community, the elite ultra rich that can afford all the toys community, the moderate really into bass fishing community, but they don't have those really good toys. Want them, some of us really want them and like them. Others, or maybe they really want them and like them, but they're just kind of jealous or just don't like what it's doing to the game because it's becoming so advanced that it's almost now your technological skills are almost as important as your fishing skills, to where it's getting insane. And if you can run around on a lake 80 miles an hour and shoot from one spot to the next and then use an actual camera system to find your fish, that's just changing the game, let's say. So what's up, Sam? Hey, how's it going? You guys are the only ones I think I haven't got your card to. So I've got the Bass Pro Shop. I got the gift cards for everybody, guys. So I know I got Mad Bass, I got Ray, and Jimmy Sanchez needs a lure pack, but I haven't seen him on recently. I'll reach out to Facebook. But Big Vic, I see up there. So gotta make sure maybe you guys swing by and get that if you haven't. You go night fishing tonight or tomorrow? Yeah, I'm going to go tonight. I've been wanting to go night fishing because you never have. Well, if you're down, maybe I've been thinking about going either to Don Pedro, perhaps McClure, and doing some night fishing. And I'm going to throw a jig, a crankbait, and a spinner bait and top water. And I'm just going to cover water, look for big fish. So I'm going to focus around big boulders, main lake points, structure, docks, houseboats, anything a big bass will sit up next to, saddlebacks, ridges, places where the water is maybe, if the lake's dropping and there maybe is almost like a pond or a cutoff area, and then there's a place like this where the water goes from one area to the next and the lake's dropping, the fish will sit there like that as stuff comes out or tries to go in. And there's a couple places like that at McClure that are near McClure Point that are like that. Man, I smash them when the lake level's dropping in the summer. You just got to cover some water and find the right stuff. Past few weeks, you've been working overtime. I'm in the opposite boat, brother. Like some days I'm working 14 hours in 100-degree weather, sweating, dying. I'm installing units. I'm doing all this work. And then in just 2, 3 days, ghost, no calls, nothing. Like, man, I fixed everybody's crap and now I'm no got no work. And like I don't spend a ton of money on marketing, so I'll wait. There'll be waves. There'll be a couple of hot days. People's stuff will break. They'll probably call other companies and people can't get out because they're booked up. They're bigger companies. Then they eventually stumble across me. Yeah, I'd come out today or tomorrow. Then that's how I get more and more customers. And then the next year, if those same people's units break, but it's usually not. Sometimes units will break every year when they're real old. Most of the time, I'll get their friends or family. So like I'll fix their unit the next year. Their mom's or dad's unit or brothers or cousin or friends unit breaks, and then they tell them call me. So I get a lot of word of mouth, Facebook stuff like friends, referrals. I'm starting to get calls and work in from Google and Yelp and stuff. But man, it's crazy when you work for yourself. It's great. It's fun to have the free time on a weekday to be doing this, or potentially go fishing and stuff. But at the same time, it's very stressful. I got to pay all these bills. I'm living month to month. juggling. Money's constantly coming in and then going out. Now it goes out at a consistent rate, but sometimes it comes in real good, and then sometimes all of a sudden not good at all for a while, and the money's not very guaranteed all the time. So it's crazy. You make 20 grand in a month or two, and then make 1,500 in 1 month, and it'd be a hot month too. Then you're just, what the hell, scratching your head. So you just got to plan and budget correctly. That's how we survive. Is save every penny in the summer, and then try to squirrel it away until winter, and then winter do as much work as you can, do the same thing, and squirrel it away until the summer. And then spring and fall is when you stress and you do a few little things, but you don't really have a lot of money to spend. So, or you do, but you got to ration it. So you got to look at it and say, okay, what can I play with and do? Yeah, it's interesting. Let's just put it that way. Last 2 years, my whole life since I was 18, I've had a normal job and I've worked my ass off. Been a hardworking person ever since, and always was decent at budgeting and doing good with my money. And when I still am, but when you work for yourself, boy, is it a different ballpark. It's crazy. So it's good, but it's also scary. There's no safety net. So you got to really just you dance and maneuver and learn how to watch what you spend, and hustle too, sell shit. Like, hey, have a yard sale if you're struggling. Put some stuff up on eBay. I collect a lot of stuff. That's also kind of like a third business of mine. For those of you who don't know, I have collections of stuff that I will never sell. I got Mickey Mantle autograph. I got Hank Aaron. I've got Joe Montana. I got Magic Johnson. I've got all these Larry Bird autographs, all this and that crap, baseballs and stuff that I'll never sell. They will always be with me. But a lot of this stuff that you see behind me is also when I see a great deal, I can't help it. I'm like, all right, this phone's worth, I could sell it. It's worth 200 on a horrible day. No matter what, I could sell it for 100. And you're telling me you're going to sell it to me for 25 bucks? Sure, I'll squirrel it away and then try to resell it later. So it's just as long as it's not stolen. So basically, what I do is deal in collectibles. So I go on to any type I see a yard sale, or I see people selling stuff. If they've got certificates, if it's legit, I might pick it up. I'll do Comic Cons or other stuff. But a lot of this stuff comes from auctions and other places where these big old warehouses that deal. They have a ton of autograph stuff, and when everybody's focused on Stephen Curry, Michael Jordan, blah, blah, Kobe Bryant, or a Babe Ruth this, or a Mickey Mouse that, well, or a Buster Posey this, well, the Nolan Ryan slips through the crack for a good deal. Or the, autographed Ralph Macchio Karate Kid slips through the crack because people aren't chasing it. So that's how I do it. And then I put it out on eBay, or I sell it, do stuff, right? Bust ass, work hard. I have a basic point of what I'm trying to get across is I've always worked for mine, and but I've always also had a solid job. So when you are floating in the ocean, so to speak, of life with no preserver, no help, or you're on your own, let's say, it's a unique experience. Let's just say that. And it's a positive one. But it's also very negative and stressful and other things too. But that's life, right? What is it? It's a test, and I'm doing the best I can. So, but that's why I appreciate you guys, sitting through my rant there. But you know, yeah, come get your card. Hit me up. Make sure that you give me an advance notice, though, or we'll make sure we're both available on a certain day so that I can either bring it to you or you can swing by and pick it up. But yeah, so anyways, recap, because this is just a quick 1 hour live stream or so. I'll be on for a little bit more, or if we get more people, we'll hang around. So don't forget to leave a comment so we can interact. Smash that like button on your way in or out, either way, or while you're watching. And so yeah, the idea of today's live stream, just let everybody know, hey, I'm just real busy with HVAC, with life, bills, things, kids. We had some drama happen. I don't want to really talk about it right now. I may talk about it in the future. or for those of you who know me personally, I'm not a gossiper, and I'm not here to put attention on any person or anything. But you know, so I've had some things going on the last couple of weeks. So I apologize. And then before that, my daughter, we thought she had cancer. A few months has just been nuts for the channel and me. So I appreciate you guys dealing with the wave and the inconsistency for a bit, but we're gonna nail things down and get them back to normal here soon. And appreciate everybody's support. So just again, today's video, remind everybody, hey, I'm still live, we're still doing stuff. We got the giveaway because all you members, I appreciate the members. So it's not going to be a sub giveaway. So this month, members only. Big special shout out for those of you who are members. So we're going to make sure that we have a members only giveaway tonight. And the state of affair, you're going to talk a little bit about fishing, where I see it going, and why I think it's so important for that big major group of us who aren't in the live scope, ton of money category. And even if you're there, we care about fishing, we love fishing. I think it's so important that we share information, help each other, and share spots, share some knowledge, stir the pot up as far as like not focus on one lake. So if you got a spot, share it so some anglers can go there and fish. Yes, if you go and put a spot on blast, more people are going to show up and fish it. It's going to get pressured, fishing will get tough, then people will stop fishing it for a while. People are constantly looking for places to catch fish and have fun. I'm not a big person that eats the fish, but we do have to have some kind of culling in the fisheries to keep them healthy, to pull out the smaller fish, the 1 to 3 pounders, so that the bigger fish can spawn, make bigger fish babies, and also the bigger fish are funner to catch and release. Everybody gets a chance to have fun at them. They're tougher, also harder to catch, so you learn, you get better. It's just all around great for a fishery to be treated like that, took care of. So anyways, sharing information, where we're catching them, what we're catching them on. So want to build this community of focused on the average everyday Joe, as well as the tournament fisherman who's mediocre to mid-level. Maybe even a pro might learn something from the channel. Don't know. I'll more than likely learn something from them, though, right? Always keep it humble and real. I'm not a pro. There's always stuff to learn, and when I hear something, I'll always try it. And if it works out, I put it in my tackle box, so to speak. Life is just one big session of R&D. Rip off and duplicate. Since you're a baby, you see things that work and you do them. When you see things that don't work or hurt, you don't do them. You touch the stove and you get burned. Ow, I don't want to touch the stove again. You touch the candy, put it in the mouth, it tastes good. I want more candy, right? So it's pretty simple. And fishing is in the same thing. So if it's working, I'm going to do it. If it's not, I'm not going to do it right then, maybe, but you don't throw it away, so to speak. But the more techniques, lures, and things you have in your tackle box, the better. So that's why I think it's great to share and have a community like this. So I'm focused on that. In my opinion, the bigger portion of fishing. There's only a small amount of really high level, elite, super professional fishermen. The rest of us are just Joes trying to catch some fish. And so hopefully, we can build this into a big community. Now, last but not least, before we get off, I want to give some tips and tricks. It's summertime. I have not been fishing, though, on the body of water on my boat now for almost 2 weeks, with that being said, about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I'm very eager to get back out and to go crack some here, probably tonight or tomorrow. And the more I think about it, the more I think I want to go tonight. And I'll probably live stream on the way, and maybe we'll do the giveaway Monday, or we'll do the giveaway on the way up to the lake. Who knows? It depends what lake we go to, whether or not we have reception and what areas. But I'm thinking about maybe heading up to the lake probably 5 or 6 o'clock, and we'll see how it goes. But some tips and tricks, all right? So when I do go, okay, so there's a big difference. Everything, and there is most of, but in the summertime, the morning can fish, the sun up can fish one way, Well, as soon as it hits 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, maybe 10 at the latest, the fishing will switch to another way. You sometimes, and it may be that way all damn day long till like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we hit that low light afternoon transition, and the bite may change. So may have three major different types of fishing windows and bites, or maybe even four or five, depending on that. Sometimes you get that 9 to about 11, 11:30 bite, that change where the sun gets up, starts getting warm. If you change what you're doing, you still catch fish, have a ton of fun. But then that like almost 11 to 2 o'clock window, it can be either some of the best fishing when you're doing like top water and certain stuff like that, or it can be some of the hardest fishing where they go real deep, they go out, they go suspended, they hide in shade, they just become harder to catch sometimes in a certain window, right? And then you have the sundown, you have the nighttime window. Then usually there's a window in the first few hours of the night. Then there's that big window of the main portion of the night. Then you have the change right before sunup. So you have a couple of different bite windows at night too. But summertime is so awesome, and there's usually a couple ways you're going to want to fish, and it's going to break down into two main ways: a tough summer day or a good summer day. And a good summer day, you can crankbait, jig, and top water and stuff like that all day long over various different places. The fish will be spread out almost everywhere. There'll be better parts of the lake and not so good of parts, but those are, you can have those 100 fish days on those days. Focus on main lake points, channel swings, the incoming water upriver, the outgoing water by the dam, anywhere there may be fresh water coming in, shade lines, big things like giant rocks, boulders, buoys, houseboats, docks, marinas, all that stuff in the summertime is really key to fish. You fish it power fishing, again, jigs if you're bottom bouncing and moving on the bottom but wanting to move fast. Crankbaits, spinner baits, underspins, chatterbaits, whatever, moving along those shade lines, big boulders, buoys, houseboats, docks, marinas, and main lake points, channel swings, stuff like that, fresh incoming water, current, or anything you can find. Summertime is just a great fishing time. And in the morning, right? So if you're in a good day of fishing, in the morning specifically, you should be able to throw almost anything and catch fish. And then as the day progresses, you may have to whittle it down to a few techniques like a jerk bait, an LV 500, a spoon if there's an LV 500, right? A jerk bait if they're in the middle to top, they'll come up from 40 feet deep when the water's crystal clear. If your jerk bait goes down 10 feet and they're sitting in 30-ish, 40, and they can see up and they're kind of looking up, then yeah, they'll come up if you're giving your jerk bait some pauses. But a deep dive and crankbait, I'd probably use something going down 22 feet, low roll it. Then you might have a bass in 30 or 40 come up to hit that. A bass in 15 or 20 might come down to hit that. So you can catch fish on a lot of different things, but a great summertime day, in my opinion, boils down to a few different things: moving baits like crankbaits, spinner baits, and stuff, top water, and then bottom bouncing baits like jigs or LV 500s. And I'm just gonna cover water and have a ton of fun. Then you have a tough summer day where in the morning you can probably top water, crankbait, do some stuff. But as soon as the sun comes out, bluebird, the barometric pressure seems to be at that point. The fish are hard to catch. They just go down the deep. Oxygen levels may not be the greatest, may not be a ton of fresh incoming water. Fish may be mostly located in one or two arms of the lake when it can be like this. So you can turn a bad day into a great day if you can find the schools. Otherwise, you might find a lot of barren shoreline, a fish here, a fish there, tough to really key in and locate them. And those tough factors, the barometric pressures, just at that point, the bass are just down there. Just the oxygen level, water temp, stuff like that are affecting, where these bass, so the bait fish are at, where they're going to go. So on a tough summer day, you might want to fish real deep. You might want to fish 40, 50 feet deep, or look out offshore to find the schools of bass that you may have to yo-yo an LV 500 through to catch. But drop shots, jigs, Ned rigs, Texas rig or Cincos, stuff like that. Those are my go-to in a tough summer day, and top water. So, or a weightless, a soft jerk bait like a nose hooked fluke in the top 2, 3 feet of water column worked along, can get those bass that are shallow, but they're just not wanting to hit stuff to come up and hit that. Which is also where a Cinco can be real deadly because it can work the same way, but then also sink down. So you can work that in a lot of different water columns. A weightless Cinco or something with a very small light nail weight in it. Um, there's so many different ways to smack them in the summer, but it usually boils down to me two different days: a really great or an active summer day, or a more lethargic summer day, and you can still tear them up on both days. It's just knowing when to shift gears and what to do. And then my third tip for summer fishing would be night fishing, right? So we're going to recap the first two, and then we'll get into night fishing, and then we'll be done for today or for now. And then we'll have our live stream either up on the way to the lake or later tonight if I don't go. So, first off, summer's broken, in my opinion, into 2 or 3 windows: night fishing, and then a hot summer day, and a cold summer day. As far as not temperature wise, but fishing, are they active, smashing, 100 a fish day, you know, or 40, 50 fish day? Are they great? Are they good? Throw jigs if they're on the bottom, or if you see them sometimes are on top, though the top water, bite turns off, start throwing a spinner bait or a crankbait, bite turns back on, keep doing it. Switch if they go down to the bottom, you're seeing them on your fish finder, head down, they're down there now, days progressed a little bit, or that's where they've been since the beginning. Throw that jig in the summertime. Real key lure in the summertime is to throw a jig with a nice fat trailer will catch you some big ass fish. Hey Vic, thanks for joining. Thanks for appreciating it. You coming and being on for today, and we'll get that card to you. We'll work it out, but thank you. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one, boss. You have a good one. Thanks for joining tonight. Smash that like button if you guys get a chance. But yeah, so summertime is going to be, like I said, it's going to be three main things: nighttime fishing, but in daytime you're going to have a hot bite or a tough bite, and even during that tough day, you just need to switch gears. That's usually the Ned rig, a drop shot, weightless Cinco. Bottom bouncing or offshore fishing is usually going to be key. Finding the right water, so smash around the lake until you find the actual fish or groupings of them, and then it's just getting them to bite. If you're in an area and you're not getting bit after, say, 20, 30 minutes and you don't see fish in it, you need to get out, find a different area. Hey, Gerbs, nice to see you on. So you'll know which type of day you're in. And in the active day, I'm like I said, I'm throwing crankbaits, spinner baits, top water jigs, stuff like that, moving baits, big baits, and heavier baits. And if the day is a little more lethargic or slow or hard to get the fish to bite, first, have I thrown top water yet? Because that may be the one way to get them to bite, or a jerk bait. If not, okay, then usually it's going to be something like a Ned rig, or a slow moving jig, a finesse jig, a drop shot, shaky head, a Nico, a Cinco, something like that, is going to do good in the summer when the bite's tough. So at nighttime, you can have the same kind of principle, though. You can have a tough nighttime bite and a good nighttime bite. And a good nighttime bite, good nighttime lures to use are going to be top water lures. Maybe you're going to want stuff that is less skill related because it's harder to see, and more search bait, like a whopper plopper over a spook at night. If you're good at working a spook, then fine, work it at night. And what you're going to want to hear is you'll wait until you hear the bite and feel it. So wait till your pole actually bends before you set the hook. Because at nighttime, you can be moving it around and hear the explosion before you set the hook. Reel a little bit to see if you're slack, and then wait to see if you feel your pole move and then set the hook. If not, just wait and then pop it some more and that fish might come back. You pull the lure out of that fish's mouth or out of that zone and the fish may not come back for it. You might get a second or even a third strike until you finally do hook up. So wait at nighttime. Some of the tips are going to be wait till you feel the bite, not when you hear it, because it'll scare the shit out of you. Just be working top water. It could be a frog, could be a whopper plopper, could be a spook, whatever have you, and then a buzz bait, and you're just working, and then you just hear boosh, and you know that's where your bait's at, and you set the hook thinking it's just same thing like a frog. You hear that explosion, and then usually about a second, maybe second and a half later, or a half second later, whatever happens to be, but it's a little gap between when you hear it and then you feel your bite load up. That's when you set the hook, and you'll catch way more fish at night with your top water. Other two are definitely a crankbait, a square bill up shallow. You want to always don't sleep on shallow. Nighttime fishings always start in 1 inch of water and work your way down. And with that said, you're going to want a real shallow crankbait, like a square bill, something you can work in a few inches of water down to about 6 to 8 feet of water. Then you're going to want a mid dive in like a spoon bill, something that's going to go about 12 feet or so, 10 to 12 feet diver, 8 to 12 foot diver. And then you're going to want a deep diver, a 15 to 20 foot diver, and crankbait at night, and figure out which one of those water columns the majority of the fish are in, or the majority of the big fish, right? And then stick with that until it changes. And then you may have to adapt because fish will move in and out during the night, but they usually won't go any deeper than about 25 feet or so. So they'll always stay within about that 20, 25 feet range. Very rare, sometimes you will see it, but very rare for bass to be out over deeper water at night in the summer. In the wintertime, yeah, they'll be 60 feet deep at night sometimes. So my main advice would be crankbaits, top water, and then if you're bottom balancing, instead of throwing a little Nico rig or a Cinco or Texas or crawdad or whatever, throw a jig. And then if you're fishing at night, throw a dark jig, not a light one. And then put a trailer on it. Put some kind of crawdad or creature bait trailer on it. My favorite trailer for a jig is a baby D-bomb, or even a full size or a medium D-bomb, depending on what size jig I'm using. So hope you guys get something out of today's video, some tips and tricks there at the end for summertime fishing, nighttime fishing, and breaking it down real simple, just some basic tips. We'll break down those techniques a little more on what rods, what reel, what line, what types, and what action, how to use it, where to throw it. We'll be breaking that stuff down a little more for you guys on these next videos. So stay tuned. We're going to have a video coming to you guys later tonight. Hopefully it's going to be a giveaway for the members. It all depends on if I make it fishing or not. So I know I've repeated myself. I do that often in case people who are just jumping on kind of get a gist of what we've covered. And then if you want, you can always go and rewatch this. So they do post back up onto YouTube like a regular video, so you don't have to watch these live. Hey, Mr. Mr. Wheelchair Preacher. Yep. How's it going? Hope everybody is doing good. So I appreciate everybody tonight. Smash that like button. Thanks if you have. Like I said, we're going to be having our members giveaway tonight. So if you're a member, come join us tonight for the giveaway. And if you're a subscriber and you want to come and watch and have fun, we're going to be talking about some summertime fishing tips. And it's a toss-up. Like I said, I'm going to be going fishing later on maybe. So either I'll be having a live stream from here, 7 doing a giveaway, talking about some fishing tips. If I don't go, and if I do go, you guys might have a 30-minute or so live stream on the way up to the lake, or we might do the live stream once we get to the lake. And God forbid we pick a lake or an area that doesn't have any reception, well, then you can expect to see me for sure Monday. So I'm hoping to do all this later today, the giveaway, all the other stuff. We got some jigs from Bijan, got a Zara spook. to give away and a $25 gift card. So big shout out to the members. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for hanging out with me today for a quick midday live stream. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully, we'll see you tonight at 7. And you guys have a good one, tight lines. And thanks for watching. Yep. See you later, Rick.